Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Têkkel Talk Show live. As always, on time. And Alberic, obviously, good evening to you. You seem very excited. I'm not sure why, but it's lekker weer vir jou hier op die show te.
Province het gewen, en dit is altyd die mens kan sê. That's a cause of celebration, I'm telling you. Look, I mean, it's Tekkel Thursday. We're happy to be here and excited for a very jam-packed show.
Never seker, and so for all the Western Province supporters, a good evening to you. Wonderful to chat to you. It's been a while chatting to you after victory. So Alberic, well done to the Western Province and to all the supporters. So good evening to everyone, and thank you once again for your support. Last week, we had a media communicator, PR specialist in studio, Marissa Calvert, taking us through some of her work. It was an insightful interview, Alberic.
Very awesome, and she's just a phenomenal person, very knowledgeable, and yeah, we just love the energy, and it obviously showed in the comments section. So people just loved it as well. So thanks, Marissa, if you're watching. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed it.
Great. Moving on, we promised we're going to stick to the ladies. We have a very, very interesting guest, someone that is well known, but also very popular on our screens every Saturday and nowadays also during the weekdays. And I believe last night she was perhaps the lucky charm for the Western Province, as he obviously anchored with Jean de Villiers, anchored that piece of the game. Before we get there, Alberic, let's just flash some of the results. Ek weet jy kan jy brand op die lanklaas wat die results wys. Wat die VP nog geweet het, maar daar so die VP wat opskuif in die tweede plek. This is how take it really easy. You have one slip up, obviously the Sharks with the game in hand, but the Western Province with the victory over the Lions, moving up into second place. It was an important victory because earlier that day, obviously, the Blue Bulls was diep gedelf het, maar hulle het dan die maximum punte daar gekry en die Alberic se WP span in die tweede plek. Dis lekker mooi, Alberic.
Like prachtig. VP is they're peaking at the right time, guys. But I mean, if you look forward to those weekend's matches, I mean, there's it doesn't get easy for Western Province, and the going to Kimberley is going to be massive. If they really want to put their stake down, they'll have to do it in Kimberley. And then the week after that, we're facing the Sharks, which is going to be probably a battle for either third or fourth position on the log. But yeah, it's going to be tough. But yeah, I mean, there's some fantastic games lined up this weekend. Obviously, Lions, Sharks is also a big one, and also Pumas Cheetahs. Pumas have been playing hot and cold, but also they've been playing some good rugby when they actually put the proper effort together. But yeah, overall, it's going to be a fantastic weekend. And then, of course, the big one this weekend is the Springboks versus Los Pumas. It's going to be massive. It's obviously been a lot of talk about the changes that's been made to the personnel. And we just have to walk away with a bonus point, guys. That's all we have to do.
No, for sure. And for those of you who haven't seen the team, obviously, we will have a nice chat with our guest later on. But it is very close to our strongest team that will take to the field this Saturday. Obviously, a much improved team. The one that played last weekend was guys just getting a run. And some of the guys really put up their hand. But we will chat to our guest later on and get her input.
And Andy, sorry, just to add to that, and I want guys, whoever's listening, please, if you guys have any comments about the past weekend's game, let us know. We were up in arms about the great results for the Boks, but at the same time, their finishing was lacking, especially that 22. It was a battle. So yeah, guys, drop us messages. Let us know what you guys think. We know the Boks can put 20 points at least past the Pumas on top of the score they've already, the score they've already put down this weekend, because they're that good, and I think we definitely can put more tries on the board.
No, for sure. And then obviously before we speak to our guests, we asked you to join our Super Brew pool en kom raai die tellings. Ek dink daar was 'n paar ouens wat beide results reg het. Dit is natuurlik die All Blacks wat gemaklik wen teen die Aussies. Gemaklik, as hy 57-22. En dan die Springbokke, ek dink die telling vlei 'n bietjie die bokke daar, was so kintak. Maar ek dink die Argentyne was slegter as wat die bokke goed was. Dit was amper sukkelende Argentynse span. They are far from their best. We have seen much better from the Argentines over the years, Alberic. So there you have some of the results. And let's have a sneak peek hoe dit gegaan. Yay! Ek is op die eerste bladsy, maar dit is Bluebird. Bluebird, se geel keppie daar so, Bluebird. En hy word dan gevolg daar so, dit lyk vir my Oba wat agter hom is, en dan Flow in die derde plek, en Speedster, daai is die top 4 op die oomblik, en is 'n skamele 0.5 punte. Bluebird, ons het vir Bluebird op die lyn, Bluebird gesels 'n bietjie saam met ons, en vertel vir ons hoe dit vandag gegaan het. Bluebird, welkom by Têkkel Talk Show, het voel seker lekker om top of the log te wees.
Goeienaand Alberic, goeienaand Heinrich, dit is Bluebird hier. Hoe gaan dit met julle manne? Ja, nee, dit is seker maar lekker om top te leef en by enige log of enige punt te leer, as ek dit so kan stel. Die Superbro is 'n lekker uitdagende kompetisie. Die manne kuil mekaar op, en soos jy daar aangaan, gaan dit nog interessanter raak. Ja, manne, hou aan met 'n uitstekende Têkkel Talk Show, en dis nou oor en uit hier van Bluebird.
Ja, sê dankie Bluebird wat lekker saam ons gesels. Manne, top of the log, Alberic, ons moet opskryf.
And let's not forget, I mean, the battle for Superbro also goes about not trying to be at the bottom, and we have to give it up for Melly, Miss Ellie and Steve-O, guys. Wooden spoon goes to you for this weekend. Pick it up. I'm sure you guys can. So,
daar in die relegation zone in. So Melly, kom, ek weet nie, het hulle die Argentyne gepiek vir 'n wen, want ek weet nie, maar hulle staan op 0 punte, en Melly en daai manne, ek is seker this coming weekend, at least get the point. Just call it the Springboks. Forget about the margin, but call it the Springboks, and you'll probably get the point there. But guys, here we have it. Remember, join our Superbro pool. If you are playing Superbro, you're not in a pool yet, you can join our Superbro pool. Check our Facebook page. And then obviously for those people that want to send their pics, our WhatsApp line also available. Laat hy gees pics kom, en maak seker dat jy jou WhatsApp en jou voice note stuur na 0652188511. Ons wil graag van jou hoor. We want to hear from you. Send us your pics, send us your videos. Al is jy All Black, al is jy Aussie, ons verwelkom almal op die Têkkel Talk Show, LB.
Everybody. Send us. The more we hear from you, the greater it makes us feel better at knowing that we're doing the right thing and giving you guys a voice. So let us know. Tell us what you think. Tell us what makes your blood pump. And yeah, hopefully it's Western Province.
No, for sure. So without further ado, I see everybody greeting us. Good evening, Christopher, as jy van Touwsrivier, and a good evening there. Nigel, Alipat, and Fabian, wat ook sê, Go Province. Ons sien julle comments, ons gaan het flash. Owen Wilson, good evening, James VP. We're very lucky though. Sorry, good vibes. Owen klink daarna, man wat vir die Vrystaat skree. Maar without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest. It's a huge honor to have one of Supersport's very own ladies presenting rugby, obviously, but she's had a very interesting career journey, and she will share that with us tonight. Please welcome on the Têkkel Talk Show, all the way from Supersport Studio, Cato Louw. Cato, good evening and welcome to the Têkkel Talk Show. Wat 'n wonderlike voorreg om met jou te gesels.
Thank you for having me. Maar kyk, Supersport Studio met die bed in die agtergrond.
ek moet net 'n bietjie sout bygegooi het net vir so die mense ken jou mos maar net in jou met jou mooi suit en daar glamorous, net te seker maak dat dit is Cato Louw. Cato, baie welkom, is lekker om vir jou te hê. Voor ons bietjie rugby gesels, shares, who's Cato Louw? Where you come from? Where did things start for you? Just share your story with us.
Ag, Jessie, dit voel of ek baie oud is, maar ek weet ek is nie so oud nie. So ek is 29. Ek kom van 'n klein dorpie in die Oos-Kaap called Hogsback. It's like between a mountain range and the Eastern Cape. So it's tiny. I think there are 1,000 people that live there at the moment. And I was one of them back in the day. I was homeschooled as well. Homeschooled with my parents and my 2 sisters. We lived there for a while. And then het ons groot skool toe gegaan. graad 8 het ek oos Londen toe gegaan, hoërskool Grens. I was there. Absolutely loved it. A big thing for me going from homeschooling to school was actually the team sports. Ek het gedink dit is absolute awesome that there's like a group that does one thing and are committed to it and doen alles saam. I absolutely love team sports. And in that time, obviously it was the 2007 Rugby World Cup, and I was always because of Hogsback, I loved radio because it was the only thing that got signal in Hogsback because of all the mountains. So I was able to listen to my ma was altyd geïrriteerd. If it was 5-day cricket, it was on in the achtergrond, and you know, most if you're young, it's loud. There are no headphones, earphones. It was in so radio was my first like connection, I think, with like high level sports, if I can say it that way. So radio was a great medium, but then the 2007 Rugby World Cup rolled around, and I saw, you know, a female doctor on the field. I think it was Dr. Sherland, the eye doctor, which I know she's renowned for that now. And then I think it's when Renee also just started, the Springbok physiotherapist, and I was like, these are integral. It's the first time I saw a female in a position that is of, you know, in a rugby sphere. And I just thought it was absolutely awesome. Wow. And I thought that was the one. So that was the deciding year for me that that's the route I would like to go. But obviously I wanted to be the Springbok physio as well. So I decided to go for BSc Sports Science. Also, I didn't want to miss out on the gees, so I didn't go for physio. I went for biokinetics rather because I wanted to be on campus at Stellenbosch. Ek wil nie uitmis op enigiets nie, want Tygerberg is so I wanted to be on campus in Stellenbosch, be there for the wine tours when needed, or the Varsity Cup game. So I started with BSc Sports Science. Ended up going to ETA to get a diploma in the sports science, and in that time, I started at campus radio just because it was radio, and I adored it. So die twee het maar net so mooi getrou. And yeah, I started at MFM, and from there it sort of just took off because I'm so passionate about sport. The program manager came to me and said, well, why don't we create a show for you? Like, let's do it. I mean, let's play to your strengths or what you're passionate about. And I was like, cool. So I had a show called Halftime, which was my ultimate. I did a few shows, but that was my like jewel in the crown for me, was my halftime show. 5 days a week, I get 2 hours, just like you guys. Well, I know it's not 2 hours tonight, but it's, you know, 2 hours every day. I get to chat about sport, alles, local, influential. It was just awesome. And from there, EWN came along. I shadowed for them. And then months later, they said, well, don't you want a job as a sports anchor? And I was like, yes, finally. So I bowed into the commercial space with KFM and CapeTalk with EWN Sports. And in that time, so when it rains, it pours, if it's good or bad. And this way it was good. Supersport had a little like audition process for Varsity Cup presenters. It was like it was one day and it was only at multi-choice in Johannesburg. And you know, student, papa my bietjie hak met 'n vliegtuigkaartjie asseblief. Kom op. You take it out of my sakgeld, that's fine. And then I flew up, even booked a little guest house right by the studio so that ons dalk 'n wees betyds. En toe gaan ek vir die audition, and I made it. So from there, in terms of the TV aspect of it, for me it just felt natural to go from the radio space to the TV in terms of sport. And for me, growing up, just, you know, Supersport is the broadcaster. So for me, it was just a little dream come true, and I get to still do it. So it's quite awesome. Yeah. Awesome. And that's it.
We're honored. Wow. When you mentioned the fact that, you know, that merging from, you know, going from radio to TV, how did that aid your development as a media personality?
Oh, like, because you learn with media, and I think everyone who works in this space knows you learn on the job. You know, you can have all the theory and all of the, you know, mentorship and people telling you how and ask advice and all of that, but you can only learn on the job. And, you know, learning radio, even though radio and TV both have sports stuff, they're completely different just in terms of the actual way of doing it. Yeah. So, I mean, learning on the job, you know, you also fail on the job and you have to just deal with that. And you can ask for as much advice or whatever, but you have to do it. So it helped bucket loads to be on both of them. Also at the same time, because you have to, you know, navigate your way between the two. And also you can't slack off. There's no slacking off because people can hear you slack off or see you slack off. Because, it's just about, it's just continually learning, and also, moving on from a failure very quickly. Because if you have a link and it wasn't the best link, on TV, you quickly have to move on to, because you're going to do a link again, and you can't keep hammering on that thing that went wrong 5 minutes ago. You need to move on quickly and move on. So, it helped so much. And I still learn every single day. I'm still I'm still a baby in the industry. I think I've only been on Supersport for 4 or 5 years. So, that's a baby compared to other people. So there's still lots to learn.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you shared the moment where you actually realized that, I think you spoke about Cheryl and Renee being on TV as some of the medical staff. A few episodes ago, we had Motsadisi Mohono, a colleague of yours, on our show. And we asked them a very similar question. You sound like a very energetic, positive person, but how intimidating is it sometimes to anchor a show or even a series of a game that is predominantly played by men, but also us perceiving that the commentator or the presenter should actually be a man? How do you cope with those challenges of the wrong perceptions that is still out there?
Look, if people are going to have those perceptions, no matter how hard or how not hard I work, unfortunately, I just hope by being excellent in my job, making sure the knowledge is coming across, getting the best out of my guests, because as an anchor, that is my job, getting the best out of Jean, getting the best out of Nas, or whoever is next to me, Jonathan McQuena, or even, Mots, if I ever get the opportunity to interview her, but we won't, because we've got both anchors. So it's a very specific role. But if I can just have that excellence come across, then then it's up to you to change and give me a chance. It is very, very intimidating, because when because I'm so passionate and I love what I do, and you have a dream, and you go with all in it, you just focus and you create that path to you. When you walk into the room and realize, oh wait, there's something not normal. I'm a woman here and it's just men. Then it hits you. And then it's like, oh, okay. And then, there's little whispers or little, turn backs and like, weet jy waarvan jy praat nie, or whatever. Like, it's slowly changing. But I think someone like Mats, or even, before her, those ladies had it, I almost say, worse off. So thanks to them, it might not be as hectic now with me, thanks to them, but it's definitely still out there. And all I can do is just, as the coaches say, control the controllables, right? So I can control my knowledge, and I know that I know my stuff, and I can just keep researching, keep asking, keep learning, keep building. Because whether I was a dude, I'm not a former rugby player, so I don't have that knowledge anyway. Like, I'm not a former rugby player, so I need to get the best out of my guests. So I just hope that comes across. I'm sure it will slowly but surely not. I hate the word normalize, but it will be normal one day.
Yeah.
We'll get
and coming from me, and I'm just a sport fan, obviously following your career throughout. You ken your story. I WhatsApp you the other day. Was it yesterday? She's standing next to Jean de Villiers, this colossal of a Springbok captain, and having a proper rugby conversation. Ek bedoel, the knowledge. So from our side, you don't have to worry. You're absolutely striking it big time, and we're super proud to have you on our screens in our homes.
So people don't always say that, and because you just assume every dude is like nee man, sy weet nie. So thank you for acknowledging that, and thank you.
For sure, it's a pleasure.
And with that said, we've got a few comments coming through, and a lot of your fans coming through.
There's full of you.
Calvert, she sounds familiar. She's not here for Tekkel. She's not here for anybody else. She's just here for Cato. So she's not worried about us. And then she also says, Cato slaap mos sommer by die werk. The few more comments, Shafiq saying, Cato is a lekker warme mens. Voor en achter die scherms. What you see is what you get. Awesome, Shafiq. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Rihanna, Natasha Basson will say, much love. Cato. So yeah, that's also, so, I mean, that's exactly what you bring, to your presence on screen. And people love that about you. But surely there has been either tough moments or great moments that have happened live. What was your most difficult moment? What was your best moment on screen?
I was thinking about this. Like, I think my most difficult moment, and I know it was anyway my difficult moment because it was my first broadcast. But what made it more difficult is not because it was this hard, like tough environment, like live and everyone speaking in your ear and you had a microphone and whatever. It was the fact that my first broadcast was the day that US Van Westhuizen passed away. And it was a Varsity Cup game. And if you know Varsity Cup, you know it's fierce, it's fun, it's in your face. It's like all about the, students having a beza next to the side. There's music, there's everything. And I had to broadcast my first one, not only the fun Varsity Cup side, but also try and balance it with the fact that US passed away. So it was, and everyone there, also Supersport decided to have like heavyweights there. Talks was there. Matthew Pierce was even there to pay a tribute because it was the first match after US passed away. It was the Monday, and it was just tough because how on earth you balance your own nerves with the happiness of a Varsity Cup, with the sadness of this legend passing away. So that for me, I think just technically and emotionally, that was a very, very, very tough broadcast. And it happened to be my first one. So it was what they say, like in the line of fire, literally, with that first broadcast. So that was a tough one. And then obviously I've mispronounced names. I feel very bad.
Yeah, that could be with Amal.
I've tried. Like I think, I've learned that you need to double check yourself. Don't ask someone to check for you. Like, and that's how I've learned on the job. So I think I asked someone, are you sure this is the captain? And he said, no, you'll go check. No, it is. And I don't know if he checked. Like, I can only see the guy get up the direct OSC. And it's like one of the, like a rugby challenge match or something. So it's not the most, if Sia walks, it's Sia. But like this, like I wasn't dead sure. And I was still trying to, research all of that. And I had the wrong name, and then he said live on air, "Dis nie ek nie, ek is." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." And he's still the captain, and they won. And I mispronounced some names, and I apologize, and I tried to do the best that I can. I promise. Live TV is not for me.
No, I was going to say, and I'm sure that answers your question there when it comes to Grootste Blabs on TV. And live, I mean, that's what live TV brings, and that's the the nuances about doing it live. And like you mentioned earlier, you made a mistake 2 minutes ago. Just keep on going.
Yeah, you have to.
No, for sure.
So I think but I don't think I've tripped or anything. I think I've just said weird words at times, and maybe because my head is like sometimes like my mouth. It will not praat, so everything doesn't want to come out. It all wants to come out at once, and then it trips over words. So I've done that many a time, but we live and learn.
Obviously, your work, you share a stage and a screen with many celebs, and we've obviously seen some of the pictures on your social media feed. Any character or personality over the years that really stood out for you? Wat jy gedink het, jy's die ou maak 'n indruk op my.
Oh, you see, I love working with Jean just because he's got like this very fine sense of humor, and he also sarcastic at times. And I think it might be that like I'm still getting what's the word? It's just ontgroen tot like a bit, like sometimes. But I do love working with him. What he brings to the table is awesome. And I've also enjoyed a lot of the players like from the Edward van der Merwe. I've seen him now from. I chatted to him in my campus radio days, and now it's so cool to see where he's going to end up, and I think it's going to be still far, but his personality is very underrated, and he's not been able to show it yet. I think he shows it in his little celebrations, but there's a lot to Edward, and I've really enjoyed him over the years, and I can't wait to see when it comes out, because it also feels to me like someone like a Sia or these Oaks at Springbok, they were well confident and they're playing well and it's going well. Now the personalities are emerging, which we got to see behind the scenes. So I think there's still a few hidden gems in some of the teams. But I think those are some of the favorites. Obviously, I was about to say, you have to show this.
Yo.
Who's that? You look so familiar.
He's so familiar. This is probably the biggest superstar I've ever in my life. Maybe, well, let's hope there's more. But he's my favorite just because I grew up with him. You can even see the cap. I think I got it as a Christmas present. And then he switched from Nike to this Uniqlo, this other brand. I was like, damn it, man. But I had the cap there, and it was just such. It was kind of it was just so awesome because it's an OTC on TV, and I mean he's won whatever you can win, and he's a superstar, and it was just he's so elegant and so like nice and lovely. So Roger Federer was definitely a fave. I would like to call him a bestie, but he might not reciprocate that just yet.
Lucas Radebe.
Yeah, he was fun. I've actually seen him quite 2 or 3 times after this. He's very, very nice. Also very warm and friendly and engaging as well. This was like in my early campus radio station days. And then Steve Harvey. Shoot, yella. This was a very interesting experience just because there were so many rules we had to follow regarding. This was pre-COVID. We had to follow around Steve. You're not allowed to chat to him until he chats to you. If he engages, then you're allowed to engage. We're not allowed to touch him unless he initiates a hug or a side glance or whatever.
Wow.
Everyone is quiet on set until Steve speaks, and it's like, it was like a whole PA and 3 ander mense wat saam met hom, just a little gang wat saam met hom loop. That was Roger Federer didn't have those many people, so it was very interesting for me. And so Steve Harvey was a very interesting character to meet, and a great pleasure to be on Family Feud. But at least we won, so we won.
And your knowledge of sport. I mean, besides going beyond your days growing up and watching television, you mentioned watching cricket and rugby. Do you play sports yourself?
Yes, so when I got to homeschooling, we did a lot of individual sports, and in Hogsback it's an outdoorsy town, so we did like mountain biking and like hiking and all of that, and having siblings, you can't help but be a bit competitive. So the competitiveness was always there. But then when I got to I'm going to say normal school, there was fun sport there, and threw myself into netball, water polo, did tennis. Landloop, cross country, athletics. I was never the Tatiana Schoenmaker in any of those, but I was in the team. I was probably the most groot back, probably in the sin bin the most, but I was there. I was inside and out.
I love that.
Being part of the team.
Jy klink na iemand wat hou van bietjie nog steeds doen jy nog steeds 'n bietjie fitness en bly jy aktief?
Yeah, no lockdown. I think we all need to check our fitness levels, eh? We're all but stuck inside, but no, like runs, and I would like to pick up tennis again. It's just life gets busy and then you put it aside, but you forget how important it was in your life being actually involved in sport because you watch it and you consume it. But I sometimes forget that I can also go play a round of tennis if I want to. So I would like to add some more. But at the moment, it's just running and normal gym training and all the normal white girl Cape Town things.
Great, man. Let's chat some rugby. We've got a big fan base of rugby, so get it. Questions coming before we get to the rugby championship. Last week we had a brief a review of the historic British and Irish Lions tour, and what a tour it was. We were very fortunate to come away as Springboks with a victory, a series victory, but it was filled with on-field and off-field, and mag ek die water dra en mag ek nie die water dra nie, en een maak 'n video van hoe sleg die ref is en die ander is rof gegaan.
Yeah, the Twitter debates, the Warren Gatlin, the ref, Marius, it was absolutely insane. I don't think we'll ever see a series like that again. And we won. So I guess in terms of the rugby part, we did that, and it was just, I never had any doubt. There was this. That's what I'm saying. There's a confidence, even in the press conference. If you sat. It was all virtual, but I mean, there's just like this silent, not even silent. It's just, they just know. Jock and Rassie and, the leaders and even the new guys, they know their role. They know what they need to do. They know who they are. And that's what I think came across onto the field, despite us not playing for 18 months. It was beautiful to see, no matter how in your face and how all the other things came in. It was really awesome to see. And again, I know that's another pressure on them, but South Africa needed it. So well done to them. I loved it.
And who could have scripted it better? It goes down to the wire, and who else to kick the final kick? Mornay Steyn appears on the field, and like he did 12 years ago, slots the penalty to win the series. Maar soos jy sê, Cato, it had it all, and we really, really enjoyed the series. En dit is net soveel soeter as die Springbokke natuurlik wegstap met die lauwere.
Oh, ek het dit gelove. En we were van ons was kon nou wees in die stadion. Ek was op vir EWN en net om SA Rugby pulled out all the stuff. There were fireworks, there was fire and all of that, and it just made it feel bigger. There was also no one, so it was just sort of about the rugby in that time. There was nothing else that could go on. There was no fan or whatever. It was just like, and I'm not saying we didn't want fans. Obviously, but it was just like so intense. It's like the intensity just lifted when it was so silent. And there was literally, when Mornay kicked, it was dead quiet. So quiet.
He was never going to miss that.
He was not going to miss
it. That was over.
Written in the stars, written in the fireworks, whatever. It was meant to be.
and looking forward now, we talking rugby championship, and just to let you know, that kind of insight we don't see as fans sitting at home watching press conferences. You being in that room, listening to and seeing, feeding of that energy, you can definitely pick up, and that's great to know. And we don't see that. But looking forward to this rugby championship, the fact that we're going to tour after this weekend's game. How do you feel about our chances of retaining the rugby championship this year?
I was also a bit like scared about the Lions series just because you don't know the external factors. Like, COVID-19 can, tomorrow we have a game scheduled and then suddenly we don't have tomorrow morning. It's intense and it's a big uncertainty. I can't imagine how it plays on these guys' minds because it's literally their job to go play and they might not be able to even. So the fact that we can take it game for game. So now this weekend, Argentina, I think we're all right with that. We've got a nice, strong team there. In terms of the travels, Doc said today, like how impossible. They're going with a 42-man squad, which is huge, just because they can't get a player in to Australia if they are there. So that's a big concern. What if, what if your players get injured? Because it's such a long season. The Lions series was only one part of it. So that's going to be very interesting how they manage that. But I know there are a lot of resources and planning that's going into it. I think if they need to get a player into Australia, it's something like the player has to quarantine for 10 days in South Africa, but also be on the schedule of Australia and then land in Australia and quarantine for 14 days as well. So, I mean, that's already 24 days. And we don't know, injury can happen, in a split second. How do you know you're going to have to get a player up? So, I mean, that part is going to be, I think, key is managing your injuries and managing their workloads and all of that. So if they can do that, I will always back the box.
Awesome.
These conferences they made me smile just because also the banter between Mzandile and Sia, there's just they know what they're about. They know what they're doing, and they can't, even if they take a loss, they'll take it on the chin and they'll get back to work on Monday. And so I will always back the box.
Awesome. It's good to know the fact that you mentioned coming from the Varsity Cup days, you've seen Edwil van der Merwe coming through the ranks. There's obviously a huge amount of talent that you've been watching firsthand through Varsity Cup. Going forward to the next 5 years, 6 years, how do you think we'll fare as a rugby nation, considering we won the World Cup? Can we replicate that in 2 years' time? And can we replicate what the All Blacks did for the next couple of years based on our talent that we have?
I'm actually getting goosebumps as you say it, just because if we can do anything right in this country, it's our rugby. I think we it's just managing the talent. I know there was also a little trend. I think COVID maybe nipped it in the butt quickly. Is that our youngsters who can't get signed here go overseas immediately. I think Kate Voliter was overseas for a bit. Even like someone like Evan Ruiz was at the Sharks quickly out of school, and that might be managed a bit differently. And I think having a more holistic approach might keep those youngsters here and keep them ready for something like this. Because I think if someone like Evan Ruiz is definitely, I mean, he was man of the match last night, but it just clicked at Western Province. And you know why? Because he's with his family. He just couldn't, the environment was fabulous at the Sharks in terms of training and all of that, but he couldn't perform. It was just not, it was more, they needed to look at his mental space, and he's just doing much better when he's at home. He's a 19-year-old, 20-year-old. I don't blame him. So that's just one. So I'm very confident in the next couple of years. I think it's just about managing the guys from the top need to not run away with themselves and just maybe, curb the spending at times, maybe not, I don't know, maybe players need to retire when they need to retire so that the youngsters can be bled in. But I'm very confident. Daar's baie talent in hierdie land.
So.
If we sort out the money stuff, because like I realize they have to, a rugby career is only that long, so they need to make money, and if they need to go overseas, it's but like Rassie did, is like saying, okay, cool, but if you're still in the mix, let's managing that part as well. So it's going to be important.
There you have it. For those of you who have tuned in a little bit late, we are speaking to Cato Louw, well-known Supersport presenter, media personality. We've got Gavin Les coming through there, a perfect example that you do not have to be a former player to know what you are talking about. The Suvar, same goes for coaching. And then also Richard Erasmus saying, I'm very curious about the football club you support in the English Premier League. Aitza, kyk jy English Premier League, Cato?
Ja, it's Chelsea, maar ek weet nie of ek embarrassed moet wees om dit te sê nie.
Twee Chelsea supporters na mekaar. Marissa Talbot is ook 'n Chelsea supporter en ek dink julle kan trots wees op.
Okay, cool. Hierdie is ons seisoen, al die Chelsea supporters, or it's happening fast. Ek dink so. Goed.
Ons het ook 'n boodskap. Hulle kom thick and fast. Patricia Brinkers is saying, hi guys, just want to compliment you for all the amazing women guests you are having on the show. It is Women's Month, and obviously Cato, obviously one of those ladies making a difference. Before we close the show, Chelsea wat deurkom daar. For those of you who missed it, Nina aber obviously named the Springbok side. Die Springbokke wat natuurlik die Argentyne met 32 punte 10-12 verslaan het. Dit is 'n baie prominente telling daai vir die van julle wat nie die telling onthou nie. Ek dink dit is die presies telling wat ons vir Engeland kaf gedraf het in die World Cup final. Ons het hulle ook dan nou Argentinië ook 32-12 verslaan. Maar kom ons kyk gou Cato, ek check gou die span. As jy nou gedink het laasweek se span is goed, ek weet nie of ek die Argentyne wil wees as ek die span lees.
Nee. Maar die ding is, die Argentyne, they're hurting at the moment. And we know how passionate and alive they become when hulle in 'n hoek is. So dit gaan baie interessant wees. Ek hoop eintlik dit is very competitive. Dit gaan net lekker wees vir die bokke ook. Jy weet, op pad na die tweede been nou in Australië om te sien wat jy weet, want ek bedoel ons gaan nou teen Australië en Nieu-Seeland compete, maar ek bedoel ek hoop is 'n competitive wedstryd hierdie. Ek kan nie enige fout vind met hierdie span nie. Ek's baie bly Nicolas is op die bench. Hoopelik kry hy sy eerste cap daar. En dan Marvin Currie, ek het Lode Jager het hierdie week gesê dat obviously Lode speel sy 50ste wedstryd vir die bokke die komende naweek. En Marvin hy het toch al van die bench af begin, so dis nou sy eerste start, and it's a beautiful moment because Lode said, Marvin, during the Lions series, he was always there preparing the others to get ready for this historic series. I was in the undercount, so for him getting a cap, and I really think Rassie and Jacques and the rest of the coaching staff have been doing this absolutely brilliantly, just bleeding in the new guys, slowly but surely, and giving everyone the much needed game time, but also taking them off where needed. It's a science, and I think they've got it down to a T. They just need to keep on. And if a horrible patch comes, it's fine. I think we will forgive them because they did so well. It's all right.
Yeah, for sure. And then apart from looking forward to the game, our Springbok ladies are on a winning streak. Hulle kan nie geklop word op die oomblikie. Obviously there you have it again, closer than last time, 29 points to 22, but the Springbok women, they are certainly making sure that they are noticed on the global circuit, and they are improving week in and week out. I'm very excited about the Springbok ladies.
I'm very excited because obviously we've got a Rugby World Cup coming up next year for our ladies. They haven't featured there, I think, in about 8 or 9 years. So this is the first one back almost. And obviously it's become more prominent thanks to a lady with the name Babalwa Latsha, who's obviously signed her first professional contract, the first African rugby player to female rugby to sign a contract overseas. She's unfortunately injured now, but she'll hopefully be back very soon. They are looking to go on an end-of-year tour, which will be great because I was chatting to Noms. I think she's the team manager, but she's also a Xhosa commentator for Supersport. She's involved with the Springbok women as a former player herself. But she was saying that, it's great against Kenya. This last game was a perfect hit-out, but they need to compete against the best in the world to see where they are because our ladies haven't been able to compete against the best of the world. your resources due to it's still being a massive, stigma, stereotype around, female sports in general. So they've not been funds behind them. But now we have a chance also with Lynn Cantwell, the media, the high performance manager brought in by SA Rugby. So it's an exciting time. And if I were you, as I look at the Springbok men, I'd look at the Springbok women as well, that they want to watch and with the right backing. I mean, we're all passionate. They're all passionate. So I would keep an eye on both of them, because if both of them succeed, imagine how much the world will hate us.
Yeah, brilliant. No, for sure. Great insight from Cato Louw. Obviously, we're nearing the end of the show, but ek sien dis warm op die lyne. It's probably one of our popular guests. Almal wil goeienaand sê en hello sê en hulle comments. Ons kan nie almal wys nie. Ons gaan nog een of twee keer flash, maar baie dankie dat julle ook vanaand ingeskakel het. Alberic, is lekker om met iemand te gesels soos Cato wat jy weet wat haar storie ken. En Cato, van my kant af by die Têkkel Talk Show het ons 'n slogan wat sê we encourage a culture of recognition. Ons wil 'n platform skep waar ons vir mekaar dankie sê vir die verskille wat ons maak. En natuurlik het toe ons gesels het ons gesê dit is die dame wat ons op ons show wil hê. Kyk hoe lekker gesels sy oor rugby. Kyk hoe lekker laat sy vir ons voel in ons eie huise. So from our side at the Têkkel Talk Show, thank you so much for what you do. Coming from a small town in the Eastern Cape, venturing into Stellenbosch to complete your studies, but then also, taking the opportunities, firstly, to enter radio, but when the opportunity came to fly for audition, you went and you obviously represented the ladies, and from there, the doors just opened. Each and every week, when you're on my screen, I'm in awe with your knowledge, your humbleness, but also the ability om die mans te voel met jou kennis. Dis lekker om te sien dat jy hulle op hulle toon hou. So van ons kant af, by die Têkkel Talk Show, mag het goed gaan, mag die geleenthede net meer en meer raak, en mag jy die deure oopmaak vir ander dames was nes jy die media sport fraternity wil betree. Jy is 'n verskilmaker, en van ons by die Têkkel Talk Show gemeenskap sê ons dankie, goed gaan, en wees net jouself. Ek is seker jy sal die sterre bereik.
Ag, baie dankie julle. Hoopelik voel ek 'n Springbok en wens maar alles, né?
Alberic, Cato Louw op die Têkkel Talk Show live. Wat 'n wonderlike voorreg, wat 'n wonderlike plesier om met so 'n nederige persoon te praat, maar natuurlik die knowledge, die insight, dit vloei. Dit was lekker, Alberic. Ek is 2 keer slimmer nou. Ek weet nie hoe jy voel nie.
No, we all get a lot of insight from okay. So Cato, thank you very much. I mean, we said before the show as well. It's good to hear the behind the scenes, what's going on behind, and also to know how you actually took those chances. And it's a message that will inspire others, and not to not risk, and buy that ticket and go take that chance. And yeah, you are evident of that, and well done for taking that chance. So yeah, guys. Here's a shining example of what you can become one day in the media world. So well done, Cato.
In die kamer, baie dankie.
Sê lekker. So kom ons dan aan die einde, the end of another episode with Cato Louw. Guys, check it out at Tekkel Chat op YouTube, op Facebook, op Twitter. Kry jou pieks reg. Bluebird, ek kom vir jou op die Superbro log. Ek laat my die wenne by eie show nie. So maak reg, maak jou pieks reg. Ons kom vir julle until volgende week. Goed gaan, mooi loop. En wees veilig.